So Dragon Ball Sparking Zero is supposed to be getting ported to the Switch 2 a little bit later this year, I believe on November 14th. The game has been out for almost a year now, and honestly, it's done pretty well in terms of sales because I think it's done like 5 mil in terms of sales thus far. And Dragon Ball Sparking Zero is technically supposed to be Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 4. And I don't know. I feel like it's one of those games that its appeal stemmed from its visuals and its creativity, especially with the what if scenarios. I don't think the game is quite as creative as Xenoverse 1 and 2, which came out several years ago. Those two games took creativity to a whole nother level. Um, Sparking Zero feels like, I don't know, it's basically just tweaking the main storylines. And I don't know, I feel like for the most part, they're exciting because of the stuff that the creators come up with, but at the same time, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I think some people would have preferred like a Xenoverse 3 or what have you, but it is what it is. Um, yeah, it coming to the Switch too, I think is pretty cool. I'm not exactly sure how well it'll do in terms of sales, especially considering all the first party titles that you have on the Switch 2 right now. And I do feel that as a fighting game, like Sparking Zero is definitely one of the best games of 2024. It's one of the best fighting games that we have in 2025 thus far because there hasn't really been any like major like fighting game that came out this year, at least not that I can think of off the top of my head. And I honestly think like 5 mil is actually not bad, because it hasn't really been a full year. We're closing in on the exact date this game was released last year, which was I want to say October 7th. And yeah, like I'm not exactly sure where Bandai Namco is going to go next with Dragon Ball Z. I feel like this is definitely a better game than DBZ Kakarot from a couple of years ago. Um, I'm not exactly sure if Sparking Zero was addictive as fighters. A lot of people say, Dragon Ball Fighters was overrated, but dude, it was basically a better, Marvel versus Capcom 3 in terms of like graphics and all that other stuff. I do feel like the character interactions in Sparking Zero, I think it was one of the high points of that game, along with just about everything else, like from the graphics, the aesthetics, the what if stuff. Um, yeah, I mean, I honestly feel like Sparking Zero is one of those games that's really good, but at the same time, it's easy to overrate it and say it's one of the best Dragon Ball Z fighting games of all time. But do I feel like this is something that would shine on the Switch 2 console? I mean, it could stand out, but at the same time, you're going to be getting lower resolution, like, graphics and gameplay and stuff like that because Switch 2, I think, is just as powerful as like a base PS4. So obviously, it looks better on like the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox Series X or even PC for that matter.